I want to now bring in Alan Orr Jr. He is the immigration chair for the National Bar Association and the past president of the American Immigration Lawyer Association. Alan, it is very good to chat with you because this is a legal issue, really, when it all boils down to it, and lawyers are very important here. There is a few different policies that the Biden administration has rolled out. Under this new plan, asylum seekers are being asked in some respects to apply for asylum from their home countries. There is this parole program modeled off of a Venezuelan program, a program for Venezuelans that Gabe Gutierrez just talked about, that requires folks to pass background checks, prove they have a financial supporter in America. Talk about the practical implications of that. Is this realistic for folks who are trying to come to America?
Unfortunately, it's not realistic. It will help some, but not many. Asylum does not require a sponsor. If you had a sponsor, that's family or business. And so that really disconnects a lot of people who will not have that connection to the United States, specifically to a large number of Haitians when we've already deported 40 million Haitians to Haiti already. And the most important thing to understand is that asylum is legal. Under the U.S. system, Congress passed asylum. So if Congress wanted to end asylum, they should end asylum. And the changes that the Biden administration is making to asylum are just as bad as the Trump administration, where maybe it's not a 99% ban, but it's still a 50 to 60 to 70% ban, specifically for certain nationalities. And as we speak about that as a Black lawyer, when we start talking about certain nationalities, that's when we're discriminating against certain races and ethnic groups, and that really harms Black immigrants from coming to the United States.
This is the crux of the issue. When I worked in the administration, I worked on the root causes of migration side of this. And repeatedly in these conversations, the question of, did the Biden administration believe it is people's right to seek asylum? Do they believe in that? It repeatedly came up. And yes, the president and vice president do believe that, but it's the policies that we are talking about, the implications of that. I want to play some sound from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar because she talked about this very issue. Listen to this.
We have to, again, remember that when we think about people seeking asylum, that is in line with international law, and it certainly is in line with our laws. And we have a moral obligation to do the right thing here. And I do hope that the president uses his authority to get things done on behalf of the American people.
Alan, this is a complicated issue. So how does the Biden administration need to really balance this, right? Because on one hand, there is border security, but on another hand, you have to protect the legal rights of human beings being able to seek asylum, something that I know the president and vice president believe in.
Right. And I believe you were with the administration when they did the Summit of Americas and they laid out a very humane plan, as well as the $2 billion that the vice president got to sort of control the border issue. I think the primary concern that I have here is the hate that's involved with sort of the immigration conversation now, because these are humans. And it shouldn't be about keeping people out. It should be about the safety of humans. The same thing that Poland did with regards to the Ukrainians is what America needs to do with regards to the border. Maybe they don't all get to stay, but while they're here, we're going to treat them in a humane fashion and process them legally. The biggest problem I have right now is that we're asking the president to do something that Congress needs to do. The president's hands are tied behind his back, meaning he doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the people, and he doesn't have the policy with the Supreme Court stepping in the way, stopping American law to have the rights to asylum. So when we keep asking Biden to do this and Biden to do that, we really need to change the conversation to Congress to do this and Congress to do that. We are working with a Tandy computer in immigration, which is a 1983 or 86 computer in an Apple world, and we will continue to have these problems and these backlogs. And immigration isn't just about the southern border. Immigration is also about business and family that have 2 years and 3 years delayed. In addition to that, you could fly in and file asylum, but you can't walk 1,000 miles and get asylum. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, it has to make sense for people. My last question for you. You made the point about the Ukrainians, and there are folks who looked at the president's current policy that was released this past week and said this is a program that is similar to the program for Ukrainians. Folks that came, they had to pass a background check. They had to note that they had a relative in the country in some respects. The difference is if people from the southern border, from some of these countries that we discussed, cross into America irregularly, they are then sent to Mexico. Your thoughts?
So on the Ukrainian program, like I said, it is another channel to have a humanitarian control. The parole, I applaud it, and it will help some people. There are technology problems as well as sponsor problems. But in addition to that parole problem, tons of Ukrainians came to the southern border and passed Haitians, Nicaraguans, and others who've been waiting for asylum for many years and were allowed into the United States, and the same thing with Russians. So if we're going to do what the United States says it's going to do and be equitable to all nationalities and all races, then we don't need to pick groups. There were 100,000 Ukrainians. We started with 25,000 Venezuelans, and now we're talking about 30,000 of other nationalities. When we're doing those numbers, it doesn't sound like the America I know, and it's a great thing to have people want to come here and meet these jobs. So we need to turn this into an opportunity to meet the job challenges that we need.
Alan Orr Jr., thank you very much for being here today, breaking it all down. I think you've given lots of folks something to think about.